Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Top Flight Podcast. We're back on screen today, beautiful Austin, Texas. I'm with my G Primo. He's rocking the WAATV new trucker hat. I guess we could call it a trucker hat. They're nice. Shout out to Richie from Otro Por Favor for being the plug on that new merch. I see you rocking Inter Milan jersey. What's up with that? Is that a little bit of a throwback jersey?
A little bit of a throwback, jersey. I decided to switch it up for this pod. But yeah,
Okay.
this is I think from 2010. I think 2010.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. This was a gift from my stepdad, and it has Suazo on the back, which is
Oh,
I think the only Honduran player that's ever played in Serie A. For sure Inter Milan, but I think the only
mhm.
Honduran to ever play in Serie A. I think so.
Dang,
Pretty
dude,
cool.
what a
Pretty cool.
gem.
Yeah.
What a gem. You make me feel bad. I'm just rocking like a Nike crew neck. That's all that I got on, bro. Making me feel a little simple, brother. But hey, we're back on screen today, mate. We're ready to talk about some important topics. Of course, the Austin FC versus LAFC match. Scoreless draw, but a lot happened in that game. A lot, to really take out of it. We also have some international call-ups, some important news surrounding the upcoming match between Austin FC and Inter Miami. What's going to be happening there, stadium-wise, and some other topics that we're going to be throwing in there so you guys can enjoy. If you would like to listen to my immediate reaction from the We're Austin TV Twitter Spaces, if you don't have X, I know a lot of folks don't use X anymore. They've kind of shifted onto Blue Sky. We're also kind of making that shift as well. We're keeping the X platform, but we're also posting a lot more on Blue Sky, so you can follow us there. But the Twitter Space is up as an audio podcast, so you can go and check that out. We got some fan opinions. The fan mic was used, so you can go ahead and listen to that. It was about an hour and 15 minutes. It pretty much got really in depth into that match. Kind of the initial reaction. You know how Twitter Spaces go, mate. But I want to send a shout out to everybody in the Patreon, everybody on the Discord chat. The support has been incredible. We got approved 100% as media for the Inter Miami match, so we will be there. And of course, that wouldn't be possible without the folks on our Discord, the folks that are our Patreon members. So I wanted to send a shout out and also a really big, important shout out to my boy, I can't say his at ever, but my boy, he gave my daughter a custom white t-shirt with like a bunch of bedazzles, the WATV, and like little green rhinestones with little green hearts. I don't think I've ever received something that special, and it really made me happy. It made my girl really happy as well, and I cannot wait for her to put it on so I can take a little photo of her and we can send it to my boy. So I just want to send a shout out to him, also to his mother. I always see them at Q2 Stadium. She's low key the good luck charm of Q2. So big love, massive uh, love, heart, whatever goes out to them. And I'm very thankful for having these kind of people in my life. But alrighty, Primo, I want to get into today's episode because we got a lot to talk about, mate. And I want to get started with the news that just hit the TL. We posted it just a couple of minutes ago. This was something that was publicly talked about in the press conference after the LAFC match, but we had conversations with somebody within the club that kind of they didn't confirm it. It was sort of kind of like what Coach Nico said. It was about, hey, it's a possibility, this and that. We don't know exactly what's going to be going on. And I'm seeing some accounts from Miami kind of come out and say, we haven't heard about this. What's going on? Da 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 da. They're kind of maybe hinting at the report, or not the report, but the information maybe being false, maybe fake or whatnot. But from the Austin side, it's very real. We've heard it officially in press conference from Phil West. Phil West is as official as can be when we're talking about journalists. I have his book on my bookshelf. It's fantastic. I recommend you guys get it. And for Phil West to ask a question like that, it definitely has legs. And Coach Nico gives a little bit of an elegant answer. He doesn't confirm anything. He also doesn't deny anything. And we have his kind of like his words here, paraphrase on screen, our tweet that went up not too long ago. Coach Nico says, quote, "It is something that is more on the front office. We'll just wait to see if we play there or not, or whatever happens with this game." So it's kind of up in the air right now, Primo. If it's going to be at the new stadium, if it's going to be at, I think it's called the Chase Stadium or wherever they're playing at right now. I'm not 100% sure the name of that one, but I know it's in Fort Lauderdale. I believe we're flying into Fort Lauderdale, Primo, so it might be good for us. But I think everybody around the league, everybody that's traveling to this game, a lot of superstars are going to, be there for this event. They all want this new stadium to, kind of be ready to go because it's probably going to be one of the 8 wonders of the world when we're talking about MLS stadiums. And I'm wondering if they use union labor. They needed to hit up B. They need to hit up B and say, hey, B, get your crew out here. We need to finish this stadium ASAP because Q2 was on crunch time and it got done. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe supply chain issues or whatnot, Primo, but I want to get your thoughts on this. This very important thing that's going on. Yes, everybody's going to go see Messi, Rodrigo de Paul, Berterame, Luis Suarez, but the stadium is a big factor, no, Primo?
Yeah, it's I think a little bit of a surprise, honestly. I think everyone was really looking forward for the home opener to be this big, game for Inter. They're finally getting their stadium, and we're all looking forward to it here in Austin because we're just like, wow, Austin gets to open up their stadium, with them. So
Mhm.
a little bit of a letdown to kind of hear this news circle around. But at the same time, I think it's not too bad for us Austin fans. That we knew that stadium was gonna be rocking. We knew that stadium is it's gonna be a party
Mm.
if it goes down there. So maybe this throws them off their game a little bit. Maybe it's not too much of bad news. Maybe for Austin FC fans, maybe for the rest of the league, yes. But um, it's a huge factor for those players, for those Inter Miami players. And I think it's an advantage. I think at the end of the day, a little bit of a letdown, but I think
Mm.
there's an upside to it.
I like the way that you're going about this, mate, because you're right. I mean, just thinking back to recently when we had to go play Charlotte, that stadium, I mean, to be
It's
honest,
bumping.
the bank is always bumping, right? I mean, when they open that top bowl I mean, you see the people go up there. They didn't open the bowl for this Austin game. It was their home opener, and boy, was that stadium rocking. And we were watching it via Apple TV, stream. So I think I really like the way that you went about that, mate, because could it be somewhat of an advantage atmosphere wise? Because you know that the energy might not be at 110%. It could be a little lower. It could be at like, an 80, 90% or whatnot. Anytime there's a new stadium, a kind of like a home opener vibe, right, or whatnot, the energy is through the roof. So I really like that point. Could this be somewhat of an advantage for Austin FC teams, coaches, fans, right, going into Miami for this game, knowing that there could be a little bit of like a thrown off moment, right? Everybody's expecting for the stadium to be open. It could not be ready in time. So, could it be that this fact, this reality or this factor that the stadium is not going to be open, could it play into Austin FC's favor in the sense, into Austin FC's favor in the sense that the atmosphere might be a little bit more manageable, right? And we know Austin FC has played in tough environments before. They can probably use their experience against Charlotte to maybe navigate it just a little bit better or whatnot. So we'll see what happens there. But as of right now, it's kind of just rumors circulating, but like I mentioned earlier, Primo, if a journalist like Phil West asked about this publicly in a post-match press conference, there's definitely something there. So we're not hearing much from the Miami side, and it doesn't surprise me because I guarantee you that if that information, if it's being, if they have it in Miami, it's definitely being, keeping under wraps. They don't want it to, get out. And the fact that it's coming out of Austin, it's because, well, there's two sides to this, right? There's the Miami side and there's the Austin side. So Austin still plays into this as well, right? They have information also. But Coach Nico, he kind of says that it's not in our hands. It's more of a front office issue. And that's where I'm going to leave it, right? So we'll see what happens in the next coming days. If the stadium is going to be ready, it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. But I like what you said. If it's not ready, well, that means that Austin FC can maybe manage the atmosphere a little bit better when we're talking about the home opener vibes for Inter Miami, mate. So we'll see what happens there. But we do know is that we're going to see this guy right here on screen. Lionel Messi and his friends. It'll be my first time seeing Messi. Have you ever seen him? Have you ever seen him play, Primo? Messi?
No, I've never seen Messi play. No, no.
Very,
It's
very,
gonna be
very interesting, mate.
yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for sure. Messi and friends. Messi and friends.
Messi and friends. Mate, can you hear me good? I just changed the settings on my microphone.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
hear me good?
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, perfect, perfect. All righty. So yeah, it'll be my first time seeing Lil Messi and all his homies. We'll see what happens there. It's kind of crazy that both you and I are big Real Madrid supporters. Historically, you know, we've always wanted to see Chris, and we're probably gonna get to see Lionel Messi first, brother. So we'll see what happens there, brother. But all righty, we'll see if we hear anything. We're definitely going to be keeping all of our listeners, all of our followers on social media up to date. But as of right now, Coach Nico, his words, quote, "It is something that is more on the front office. We'll just wait to see if we play there or not, or whatever happens with this game." So we'll see. Austin is still flying over there. There's no way it's going to be moved to Q2 Stadium, although that would be fantastic. It's still going to be in Miami. It just depends on what stadium it's going to be at, either Miami or Fort Lauderdale, ladies and gentlemen. So just keep an eye out on social media. We'll definitely keep you updated if we hear anything at all, 100%. Now, Primo, getting into the LAFC versus Austin FC match. And yes, I know it ended 0-0, but there was a lot to take away from this match. And really, I guess in the individual performances department, I want to send a shout out first on the LA side to Hugo Lloris. I think if it wasn't for him, LAFC would have left Q2 Stadium empty handed. Their historic defensive run would have ended. Their undefeated streak would have ended. And Austin would be walking away from this match with 3 points in the bag. You know, I think Austin definitely did enough to beat this team. However, in goal, the rival still plays. The opponent still has to play. They play their role. And Hugo Lloris, I mentioned it time and time again, he could save the freaking Titanic, brother. I mean, I say 2 or 3 big saves from Hugo Lloris. You know, I'm thinking about the one on Facundo Torres. I'm thinking about the one on Mirtu Usuni where he was taking it. It was at the top of the box. He looks like he's taking it off of his right foot. He cuts back and shoots it with his left foot, kind of tries to curl it into that top corner. It's too centered. Lloris still has to make a great save, but it's very manageable. It's very, very doable. And oh my God, man, if that would have gone in late in the game, I mean, I think that stadium erupts. I think they turn off the lights and everybody get out of here. The match is over at that point. Also, individually, Brandon Hines, like for Austin FC, I mean, what a defensive performance by this guy. And on the Twitter space, Primo, somebody said, shout out to my G Jake, he said, are we ready to have the conversation Brandon Heinzike over Ruben Gabrielson as the best center back in Austin FC history? And I sat there and I really thought about it, Primo. Is Brandon Heinzike now the best center back in Austin FC's very short history over Ruben Gabrielson? And you know how much I rate Ruben Gabrielson, right? I'm ready to have that conversation, brother. And I've been thinking about it the last couple of hours, the last couple of days. And I think he is, mate. I think Brandon Heinzike has slightly surpassed Ruben Gabrielson as the best center back in Austin FC history. And we'll get into Brandon Heinzike here just a little bit more. Some more individual performances, Primo, that I thought really stood out. I mean, of course, Usuni, right? The reaction on social media, the complete turnaround on Mirtu Usuni on social media is good, but at the same time, a little laughable, mate, because before this match, everybody was destroying Usuni, destroying Usuni when we put this information out. That the Albanian forward, the Austin FC forward, appeared to have deactivated his social media accounts, going into full lock-in mode. No TikTok, no Instagram. If you know Usuni, if you follow him on social media, that man loves his TikTok. That man loves his Instagram, brother. And the fact that he deactivated them, it tells me one thing. He's ready to be locked in for what's coming up next. And what's coming up next for him, Primo, it's not just Austin FC. It's also the Albanian national team. We know that he got called up for that massive World Cup qualifying semifinal against Poland. If they win that game and if Spartak and Ukraine defeat Sweden, they will meet in the final to see who goes, I believe, into Group B in the World Cup. So that's going to be very interesting. But there's multiple things to really take away from this Mirto Usuni deactivating social media. One of the things that I immediately said after I saw this was goal versus LAFC confirmed. And I knew Usuni was going to have the kind of game that he had against LA because he's done this before. He's done this whole deactivating social media stuff before. And shout out to Jake again. He did the research. When Usuni did this last year, he went on a 4-goal, 2-assist run. I think that's pretty good. It's not 20, it's not 10, but it's good when you're an Austin FC in 2025 that had the lowest goals in the league, that had very poor goal creation chances. I think it's something to really give credit to the player on for wanting to go the extra mile and be locked in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say, oh, well, this is the end. We got to give Usuni all the praise in the world. No, but a little bit of credit, for what he's trying to do and what he did against LA. I saw a lot of positive comments on social media after the final whistle blew against LA. Brad Stuber himself said that this was Usuni's best game in an Austin FC jersey. And before I keep going, I want to get your thoughts on that, Primo, because you handled the fan reactions. I'm sure a lot of people were talking about Mirto Usuni. I mean, how could they not? His performance on offense, his performance on defense was really something to talk about on, like, in the press conference, in the mix zone, on podcasts, but mainly fan reactions. So what were the fans saying after this match ended, mate?
I mean, right after the match ended, people were happy. People were happy. People were happy with the point, and people were happy with Usuni, especially some that have bashed him publicly. And you know, a lot of good praise going around for Usuni. A lot of kind of similar to what Stuber had said. I had some people saying that this was Usuni's best game this season for sure, and maybe his best yet in an Austin FC jersey. But positive vibes all the way around, and a little bit of hope for Usuni. You know, some fans were saying, I'm not done with Usuni. Let's give him, more time. We see what he can do, especially when he goes off social media. And that's kind of around, like, everywhere. You know, that I think that's something that anyone can do. Turn off your social media, focus, lock in, and you'll get some good results. Whether you're a soccer player or you work out in the field, whatever you do, you lock in, turn off your socials, no distractions, and it works sometimes. So, Usuni had I think, an amazing game. I think, and I think 100% of the fan interviews were praising Usuni. I don't think I heard anything bad.
I mean, there was a couple comments on Instagram saying, "Hey, he still didn't score one goal, this and that." You know, people were saying, "Hey, why are we giving him praise, this much praise, or whatnot?" But the game that Usuni had made, I thought it was fantastic on offense and on defense. And if it wasn't for Elias Sanchez being caught in an offside position, and I think he was, brother. Let's be honest. I think Elias Sanchez was rightfully called offsides. Not only was he not in line with the last defender when Usuni takes that shot off, but he makes an attempt on the ball when he swings his foot out. So I think VAR actually got that one right. Or yeah, because they went to VAR. I think they actually got that one right. No real complaints from me on that end. I wish it would have counted because was I gonna cash checks? Was I gonna bring out the receipts, brother? I mean, I was about to get online on social media. I told y'all goal versus LAFC confirmed. I told y'all Mirto Usuni without social media is different because people came after me when I was saying these things, right? And the reality is that we've seen this before, and he's gotten into this lock-in mode. And when he did it this time, before the game versus LAFC and before he went up to international duty, I said, "Ooh, Usuni is about to go off, mate." And boy, did he! Now, real quick, a quote here from Brett Stuber. He says, quote, "I gave him a big hug after the game. I told him I was super proud of him. I think that was his best game he's had for Austin FC." And spot on. You know, I'm trying to think of a game where Usuni was better. And yeah, he's had games where he scored goals. But the commitment on offense, the commitment on defense. I mean, I remember in the second half where Austin FC had a corner kick and John Gallagher's volley is either blocked or he misses the attempt. And LAFC is on a breakaway. And who are the two players that track down LAFC that are in a clear breakaway?
Usuni is one of them. I'm forgetting who was the other player, but maybe it was John Bell. But Usuni was just on offense and on defense. And shout out to Diego Valencia. He said to me, he was like, "Hey, this is exactly how Usuni plays for Albania." And it's true, brother, because the games that we've seen from Albania with Mirtu Usuni, the reaction from their fans on social media have been, wow, this guy is everywhere. Wow, this guy does it on offense. This guy does it on defense. And I'd like to see Usuni build off of this, right? I want to see him have more of these performances because today or yesterday it was against LAFC, the best defense in the league right now. Next week, it's against, or in 2 weeks, it's against Inter Miami, who received 3 goals against this LAFC side. But after that, it's LA Galaxy, who has been atrocious the past 2 years. So if Usuni can just keep this up, if he can build off of this performance, mate, I think we're gonna have somewhat of monster performances moving forward. Is there anything you want to add onto him, mate? Onto his game?
I mean, definitely that. These international games coming up, I think is giving him a lot of fuel right now. I think he wanted to make that good last impression before heading out, and he wants to go good into those Albanian. Those games are huge. Also, he has things going on here in the league, but he has a lot more going on international wise. So I think mentally you want to prepare yourself. And I think he's going to carry over that into his national team for sure. And hopefully he carries back over to
Yeah,
Austin.
no,
We got
totally.
another huge game coming up, Inter Miami.
Mhm.
So I'm excited for Usuni. He's showing out. He's showing what he can do. Yes, the goal was disallowed, but look at who we're playing. Look at who was coming into town and what we're up against, and how how we've been so far up until that game.
100%.
So there's a lot to hold on there. Whether there was a goal or not, whether it was called off or not, there's still a lot to get from that.
Sony's game against LAFC was a big reason because of his locked in mode that he went into, but also the partnership with Christian Ramirez up top. Coach Nico changed it up. They usually it was like a 4-3-3 or whatnot, but it looked to us it looked like a 4-4-2. We talked with Christian Ramirez post match, and he said it really wasn't a 4-4-2. It was actually, I believe I have his answer here. If you give me a second. Christian Ramirez says it wasn't really a 4-4-2. It was more of a 3-4-3 in the way we were defending and pressing. So, Coach Nico always does this. He starts out with something on paper, but when they go forward, when they defend, things completely change. And also with Jaden Nelson being out, of course, we knew Danny Pereira would be out, Owen Wolfwood would be out, Brandon Vasquez, Robert Taylor. Those guys have been out for some time now. With Danny Pereira a little bit less. But Jaden Nelson, the one that was questionable and he was not included, not even on the bench, things were going to change. And we saw Facundo Torres on the right. We saw Joseph Rosales on the left. In the middle, Duversarsky, Elias Sanchez. But up top, the partnership between Ramirez and Usuni, I think it really freed up Usuni in the way where he was able to kind of work freely. He didn't have to really think too much about, being the hold-up player, being the creative player, making runs, defending as well. To me, he was more of a free roll Usuni that we haven't seen until Saturday against LAFC because of that partnership up top with Christian Ramirez. And some stats on Mirto: 90 minutes played, accurate passes, 26 out of 26. It was 100%. His heat map is also quite impressive. It's very offensive. You could tell that he was very central in Austin FC's final third. He had 52 touches. I thought he was very involved in this game. I know he was criticized before, where he only had about 12 touches in an entire match. It's really just not good enough anymore, So his shot accuracy was 1 out of 3, 33%. He had 2 defensive contributions. He had 1 big chance missed. He had 4 touches in the opposition box, 50% successful dribbles, 3 out of 3 accurate long balls, 2 tackles, instead 6 recoveries, and 58% of his ground duels won. So this guy was doing it on defense and on offense. So credit to him for, quote unquote, locking in. but also the partnership with Christian Ramirez, which you could tell really helped him out, kind of, be able to free himself and kind of work freely and not have to worry about other things, just focusing on Usuni being a threat, Usuni being an offensive outlet. And we saw that. One other thing that I saw from Mirto Usuni that I hadn't seen in a while was he wasn't afraid to take on LAFC players. I saw him taking on guys. He was trying to dribble past one guy, the other. It didn't really end up in a positive outcome, but the first two things that he tried were great. And then the third thing that he tried ended up, the ball ended up being recovered by LAFC, or defender Topok did, and it went out to like a throw or whatnot. But just really good match from Mirto Usuni. I think both you and I are in agreement that it was a good game for him. You're telling me that the fans were also saying these things on social media. It was a lot of Usuni, my bad. Usuni, wow, he's different. You can go read the comments. You can listen to the space. We went in on that topic quite deep. So, just great match from him. But we need to see more of it. It's not the end. These kind of performances, if you have a goal or if you have an assist, man, the fan base is going to be talking just so well of you, Mirto Usuni. So just build it up. Keep building on it. Go with your national team. Shout out to Jordan, our writer for the Verde Rewinds. He pointed out to me that this is Albania's biggest match in like 34 years, bro, or 44 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, something really cool to, keep an eye out on. And best of luck to him. Best of luck to Svatok. When it gets to the final, if those two guys make it to the final, I'm not going to say anything. I might not watch the game because I don't know who I'm going to be rooting for. They're both Austin FC players. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, brother. So another guy that we have to talk about is Brandon Heinzike. He was a big factor in the reason why this match ended 0-0. It was one of the most exciting games that I've seen end 0-0 in a long time. I mean, we were both at Q2 Stadium in different settings. I was in the box, you were with the fans, and Brendan Heinzike in both places was a hero. In the box, all of the journalists were talking so well about him. I'm sure in the supporter section, his last-minute tackle on Son got everybody hyped. I mean, let's just go in on that real quick, Primo, because we have a quote here from Heinzike. He says, quote, "Once I saw I could get Son off balance and his touch came back inside, I just pulled the trigger on the tackle." And on the space, mate, I said that this was one of the hardest things to do as a center back, probably overall, because number one, you got to get down quick enough to make the tackle connect. Number two, you have to do it cleanly, because if not, he falls down. That's a penalty. You could get a red card. You're out for Miami. Imagine if Brandon Heinzike was out with a red card against Inter Miami. Just terrible for Austin FC. But the fact that he was able to tackle Son, get the ball out of him, and eliminate the goal-scoring threat, fantastic, Brandon Heinzike. My hat goes off to you, brother. And that's why I'm ready to have the conversation. Brandon Heinzike slightly overcomes Ruben Gabrielson as the best center back in Austin FC's very short history. So I want to get your thoughts on Brandon Heinzike, Primo. I know that some folks were talking about him also in the fan reactions. I saw that there was one gentleman that said that he only got on the fan reactions because of what Brandon Heinzike did. That inspired him to get on the fan mic. So what are your thoughts on Heinzike, the game that he had? I mean, phenomenal performance from him, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Brandon Heinzike, because it's a team effort at the end of the day. You need everyone at 100%, especially when you play these types of games against these types of teams. Yep. You need everyone locked in, from the offense all the way down to the defense, to the goalie. Even shout out Brad Stewie, had a few good saves also. But Brandon Heinzike, man, he just stepped up, ice in his veins, did not care who was in front of him. You got Son, the all-time probably favorite player over at Spurs, did his thing, coming off a Europa League championship, everything, a Conference League, whatever it was. This is a big name you're going against, man. This is no joke. And you look at him straight in the eyes and you go for that tackle. It's amazing. He did an absolutely just an amazing job, Brendan Heinzike. Getting a lot of praise from the fans on the interviews. And you mentioned that this, even though it was 0-0, this was an exciting game. It really back and forth.
It really was.
Where everything that the defense was giving, putting everything on the line. it was just exciting. Even though it did end 0-0, it ended 0-0 for a reason. And big reason was because of that defense. So they stepped it up, man. They stepped it up this game for sure. Brendan Hines, I'm glad he timed it right, because if he wouldn't got in the car going into this next game, we would have been in trouble, brother. But
100%.
I don't know. I don't know if that whole conversation of him being the best center back, he's up there.
You're pushing back. You're pushing back on it. Okay. Okay.
He's
I
up
like
there.
it.
He's up there. He's up there. But
Okay.
maybe a few more performances like this, and then maybe he'll get that.
Primo,
Maybe
a
give
few
me
more
a couple
performances.
more. Give me a few more.
Primo, he was the defensive player last year, defensive player of the year in 2025. I think he's had those performances already, bro.
Run it back. 2026.
Okay, fair.
The way it's looking.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right, fair. You know what? Fair.
But run it back, hindsight, and then I'll give it to you. But it's
Okay,
close.
all right.
He's getting close.
Okay. We'll say that it's all right. Okay, we'll say that it's is it even? Is it level? Because Ruben Gaberson helped Austin, was important, super important in getting to the Western Conference Final. Brendan Hindsight got to an Open Cup final. They both lost those games. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say one is champion and one is not, right? They're both runner-ups. So you're right. I think it's closer. That's why I said earlier it slightly overtakes Ruben Gaberson. I mean, Ruben Gaberson is not here anymore, so he can't increase his lore with Austin FC fans. So more performances like this will definitely have Brendan Hines over anybody that's ever put the Austin FC jersey on as a center back, 100%. So I guess you're right, pretty much. Some quick stats though. Brendan Hines 90 minutes played, accurate passes 95%. He had 76 out of 80, 89 touches, 50% on his long balls, 3 out of 6, 7 defensive contributions, 7 tackles. I'm sorry, 1 tackle, 1 last man tackle. I'm sure that's the one on Heung-min Son. 2 blocks, 3 clearances, 1 interception, 5 recoveries, 100% on ground duels won, 100% on aerial duels won. These are the kind of performances that really stick out. I mean, obviously. And if there's anybody that could have been on the team of the week for Austin FC, it was Brendan Hines. I'm not going to say that he deserved it 100%, but if he was on the bench, I don't think people would have complained. I've seen some pundits around the league say that was the best defensive action this season so far. Max Brados actually said something similar to that. He's the LAFC official commentator. He was the one that was commentating this match on the English stream. So, I mean, that says a lot. So credit to Brendan Hines, phenomenal defensive performance by him, and just keep building off on this kind of stuff. I mean, I've seen a lot of this from him in 2025. So, I'm kind of expecting good performances from him every time that he steps on the pitch for Austin FC. And if he goes into Miami, doesn't matter where they play, and if he locks down Berterame, which hasn't scored a goal, if he locks down Leo Messi, which is a menace, he just crossed the 900 goal mark. I mean, we really got to start talking about Brendan Hines being one of the best center backs in Austin FC's history, brother, because it's a short history. I'm not trying to, glaze anybody, but if anybody deserves a little bit of glaze on the donut, it's Brendan Hines. I just got to say it. I got to say it 100%. So credit to him. Fantastic performance, brother, and just keep it up. Keep it up. He was actually the highest rated player out of both teams, according to FootMob. He finishes the match with a 7.8 match rating, brother. So that also says a lot, if you ask me, bro. So, good stuff, Brendan Hines. Partnership with Svatok was fantastic. He has no international duty, so he's going to be chilling. And I'll end it with this. Somebody in the comments said that he owns son, and I said, Brendan Hines had a daughter already. He has a daughter already. And now he has a son. You see what I did there? Double play, wordplay on that. I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry, Tottenham and LAFC fans. Don't kill me. But Hindsight has a daughter. He now has a son. So we'll just leave it there. Just real quick, some other quotes. This is from Brad Stewart. He says, "For everybody in the locker room, this shows what we are capable of on any given night." I thought that was fantastic. If they have these kind of performances, we need to see them more consistently, 100%. Coach Nico says that he believes that his team dominated many phases of the match. There was a moment in the first half where the team possessed 68% of the possession, where they had 68% possession, And that's true. I saw that stat myself. I was like, wow, this is actually impressive. But ultimately, nothing came out of that. It was 0-0. We talked about the tactical analysis from Christian Ramirez. And then Christian Ramirez also said this when I asked him about what he thought about his first start at Q2 Stadium, because he's been coming off of the bench. This is his first start for Austin. And at Q2, he said that he was still buzzing off the energy, and that it's the most he's played in 4 to 5 weeks, that he just gave it his all, and it's something that he will continue to do. So all of these quotes, they're accompanied by the full answer. You can listen to the full answer on our Instagram, on Twitter, or on Blue Sky. Like I said, you can follow us on Blue Sky now. We're posting a lot more on that platform because a lot of the Austin FC fans kind of shifted that way. So you can go ahead and listen to the full answers there, ladies and gentlemen. But is there any other individual performances, Primo, that maybe we haven't highlighted that, Nico Dubersarski, we got to talk about him real quick because fans were also talking about him. So maybe you can start it off.
Yeah, no, he's developing like crazy right now, dude. He's getting those minutes that he was really needing last season. He's doing the most with them, and I think he's another one that stepped it up this game that he can really piggyback off of and really cement himself into this midfield because the opportunity's there right now. Our midfield's a little, it's a little spread out thin. Danny's out, Wolf is out, our main guys. So there's playing time available, and he's making the most out of it. The way he performed, I think he looked like a mature player out there, dude. He looked like he's been doing this for a long time, and he's young. So everyone was excited. Everyone's excited to see more of Dubersarski. I think everyone was wanting to see this side of Duba since the beginning of the season, and for him to be showing out and really putting himself out there, it's great. It's great, man. It says that we have a good bench. We have people that can come off the bench, fill in the roles, and go off, especially against these big teams. And it was just praise for Dubersarski. He was another one that was being mentioned a lot.
Yep. I'm right there with you, mate, and I'm with the fans that are talking about Nico Dubersarski because that's another player that on the space I give a lot of credit to, a lot of praise to. And post match in the mix zone, we only have 30 minutes. Yeah, I think he took a little bit of a long shower, and he got out a little late. He got dressed literally right where our cutoff time was. Dubersarski was kind of walking over to the media, and unfortunately, we respect the rules. Well, not unfortunately, but we respect the rules. So I just told Nico Dubersarski, I said, hey, man, this is probably your best game in an Austin FC jersey. And he was like, really? Thank you. I was like, yeah, man, just great game from him, 100%. I just wanted to let him know. And you mentioned something earlier, Primo, that these are the minutes that he was missing last season. And nobody wants to see an Austin FC player go down with an injury. But the fact that there's no Danny Pereira, no Owen Wolf, this is really giving Nico Dubersarski a chance to shine. And no disrespect to Berstar Salovic, I just don't want to see him on the pitch. I don't trust him. I just don't trust him, brother. I don't think that's disrespectful. I think that's a analysis of the performances that he's been having for Austin FC, and maybe he's another one that needs the minutes to kind of get it going. But I'd rather give him to Nico Dubersarski, and if it's not Nico Dubersarski, I'd rather give him to Urban Torres. And if it's not Urban Torres, then we could talk about Berstar Salovic. I know he's an option off the bench for Coach Nico. We've seen him come off the bench time and time again. But I want that guy to be Nico Dubersarski, the first option if there's no Danny, if there's no Owen, if there's no Elias Sanchez. I want it to be Nico Dubersarski. I know Urban Torres is doing things really well. I really like his trajectory. I liked his career path. I mean, he's been involved with the academy since he was 12 years old. I think that's a phenomenal story. But right now, I'm really liking Nico Dubersarski, brother. And I want to see him build off of this performance. I want to see him continue to get those minutes because for Instituto, he was a dog. For Instituto, he was hitting guys, sliding into players, winning the ball cleanly. The next thing for me to see Nico Dubersarski is getting assists and maybe banging in some long-range efforts, brother. I mean, that would be fantastic. But we know he's more defensive. We know he's more of a CDM, more of a CM. And we saw a lot of that against LAFC. I mean, he was everywhere. He was just hitting guys, not respecting anybody. It doesn't matter if you're David Martinez, Denny Buanga, Hyomin Son. You're a human and you bleed just like I do, brother. You're a human and you hurt just like I do. You're a human. You eat, sleep, and drink just like I do. And I saw that from Nico Dvorsavsky. No respect, going in 100% on every single tackle. And Eddie Segura, mate. Eddie Segura from LAFC, you better go buy scratch-off tickets tonight or last night, because you were so lucky that the MLS referees are very inconsistent, do not follow the same book rules that the other referees follow, and he was not sent off. He should have received the same treatment that Guilherme Viru saw in Charlotte and other players around the league. And Eddie Segura not being sent off for the foul on Nico Dvorsavsky is really a laughable situation, brother. Laughable situation. And I'm seeing a lot of people come out and criticize the MLS referees because they're very inconsistent. And Saturday at Q2 Stadium, the foul from Eddie Segura on Nico Dvorsavsky, we saw a prime example of that, brother. And I'm sorry for getting emotional on this topic. My voice is obviously being raised, but it was a nasty, harsh tackle, and VAR should have called the referee to the monitor and said, hey, take a second look at this, because this was dirty, this was dangerous, and he got away with it, Primo. He got away with it.
Yeah, the ref, some people did bring up the ref and some inconsistent decisions that were going on. But I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you. It should be consistent all the way throughout the league. Everyone should be doing their role. So really unfortunate, a little frustrating there. But that's just how it crumbles
football.
sometimes.
It's football, right? It's football.
Yeah.
It's football, mate. Now, real quick, some stats from Nico Dvorsavsky's game. 87 minutes played. Accurate passes, 94 out of 106, 89%. He had 118 touches on the ball, 100% successful dribbles. He had 12 passes into the final third. He was dispossessed 0 times, 8 defensive contributions, 5 tackles, 1 block, 2 interceptions, 5 recoveries. He was dribbled past 0 times. 78% of his ground duels won. No aerial duels to report. He was fouled once, and he committed 2 fouls. 21 years of age. He's a U22 player. He's on a long contract for Boston FC. And this is a player, don't be surprised if one day you hear how much from Nico Dvorsavsky, how much you want from him, because he's literally like this. And with more performances like this, getting more playing time underneath his belt, he's going to do some really good things, brother. So credit to Nico Dvorsavsky. This match was really good, and we'll just leave it at that, brother. So I wish we would have had some quotes to, kind of report to you guys, but unfortunately our time was cut off, and we'll talk to him next time. He was also, you can see that, real quick, you can see that his energy was different, because in the past, his energy has been, oh, thank you. Oh, I'm Nico Dvorsavsky. Very calm, very calm. But in the locker room, he was joking with Facu. He was joking with some other players. You could tell his energy was different, because he knows he had a good game. And just build off of that. Go ahead,
man. Yeah, he's probably feeling himself, man. You go in there like, man, hey, I was gonna, yeah. he knew, like when you made that comment, like, oh really, like, hey, nah, he knew. But I was gonna ask you, like, so what was the vibe in that locker room? You kind of get it firsthand right after the games.
Mm-hmm.
You might have not gotten everybody, because we didn't get any quotes from Mirto, so I'm guessing you didn't really get to speak with him.
So Mirto was there. And I thought he was going to be taking questions, because this is the first time that when media goes into the locker room, he's sitting in his chair. Every other home game, he's either been taking a long shower, reflecting on life, whatever, or he got dressed and he was out of there. This was the first week where we see Mirto Suni sitting in his chair. And he got dressed. Woo, boy had that thing on, bro. Chanel, Louis bag. Mirto. Mirto has really good style. You know what I'm saying? And he got dressed, and I was speaking with Rosales, and he passes by me, and he hits me on my chest like that, and he goes, hey, thank you for all the support. And Diego was in there also. He had finished with Coach Nico already, and he goes around to Diego, daps him up, and he says, "Hey, thank you as well." Because Diego is actually, I think, Mirtosuni's biggest defender. Diego will die on the hill with Mirtosuni. I've criticized him a little bit when there's moments to criticize him, and Diego has also. But when we have the Spanish pods, I mean, Diego is tooth and nail for Mirtosuni because he knows, and both Diego and I know that Mirtosuni has these kind of performances in him, bro. It's a matter of just getting them out of him. You know what I'm saying? And we thought he was gonna take questions, but he didn't. Right? He said, "No, not today. Next time." And I respect players' decisions like that. I don't think that they're forced to speak with the media. It's if they'd like to. So if it didn't happen this week, maybe against the Galaxy or in Miami, we're gonna be there. Mirtosuni spoke with us in Minnesota whenever we were in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. So we'll see. We'll see if we get some Mirtosuni quotes here soon. But the vibe in the locker room was positive. The vibe in the locker room was good. I think Facundo Torres got Boanga's jersey, and they were cracking jokes about the cologne on the jersey. They were saying that Boanga's cologne smelled so good and it was so strong that in the half field on the pitch you could smell it. And they were like, yeah, man, I kept freaking smelling this freaking cologne in the half field. I knew it was Denny Boanga, and they were like smelling it. I was like, guys, that's a game worn jersey. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? But the vibes were good. You know, there's more serious guys like Brandon Heinzike. He's more of a statue kind of guy. You know, he's very serious, very calm. Brad Stuber is also very serious, very calm, but he jokes around every now and then. Christian Ramirez is a very, very serious player. He cracks jokes, but he's very serious from what I've seen. Svatok, very serious as well. But overall, the guys that you would expect to be laughing and joking after a game like this were very much high energy, high vibes after the game ended. And it was good. I'm very lucky that we're able to get this access. We're able to speak with these players, and I think we do good with the access that we have. I don't think that we betray the locker room trust in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that, brother. Shout out to the communications department for letting us be in there, and I think we do a good job. I think we do a great job. We keep the fans informed. That's what I like to think. We keep the fans informed, and sometimes the questions are better than others. Sometimes as media we have a off performance, like sometimes players do on the pitch. So we'll just leave it at that, right? We'll just leave it at that. But last thing, Primo, on the game, we had the availability report. We had Jaden Nelson as questionable. The other 4 boys have been out for quite some time. Mikael Dessler does come back. Nothing really much to say about Mikael Dessler other than the fact that he looked like a player that has been out for a long time. He looked slow. He looked, kind of rusty, but you need to get these rhythm. You need to get these game rhythm minutes to, get back at the level where he was in 2025. But Jaden Nelson being questionable, mate, I think it's a tough one, but we have a little bit of context to it. Midweek media availability, Diego Valencia, he asked Coach Nico what he knew about Jaden Nelson being left off of the Canada roster that was going to have friendlies against, I believe, Iceland and Tunisia. Coach Nico said that he didn't really know what was going on there because the list dropped when he was already in training with the boys. But then we see an interview, a midweek media availability on stream. It was on YouTube with Jesse Marsh and the journalists that cover the Canadian national team, a lot of Toronto folks, a lot of Vancouver folks, and some other guys. And we get this quote from Jesse Marsh. He says, quote, "I told him, Jaden Nelson, I wanted him to stay there in Austin, to focus on everything that he's trying to do to get himself in the best form there." So this was a tactical decision. This was a decision to, hey, Jaden, stay in Austin, kind of get your mind right, get your body right. And there's more context to it. This camp was changed. This is Coach Nico. He said it probably has to be because the player has to end up feeling good in order to be able to compete at the highest level. But Jesse Marsh tells the media that because of all the injuries that are currently that a lot of Canadian players are currently, kind of going through or picked up, Alphonso Davies being one of them, massive player for them, they changed this camp to a World Cup preparation, Primo, to a last chance for the new faces to impress the coaching staff to see what they got. and he gave an update on 10 players. Jesse Marsh. He gave an update on 10 players and what their situation is. 10 players that he considers pretty much locked in as World Cup roster players. He left off Jaden Nelson off of that update, but the second question of this media availability is directly about Jaden Nelson. They say, "Hey, coach," I believe his name was John M. that asked this question. He says, "Hey, coach, I just want to ask about Jaden Nelson, and I think I'm right to say that in your time with the Canadian national team, Jaden Nelson is a player that has earned this spot with the national team. So I just wanted to ask why he was left off." And then we get the answer about Jesse Marsh telling him that he needs to stay in Austin to get up to full fitness. And we know, Primo, as people that cover Austin FC, that Coach Nico has told us since the beginning of the season that Nelson is not 100% fit. Nelson has been dealing with a hamstring injury since he arrived from Vancouver. I mean, he told us on camera after the Minnesota home opener that he could only play a certain amount of minutes because, well, he was cramping in that game. He was brought off because of a hamstring issue, and he's been dealing with that all this time. And the fact that he's finally able to, kind of be left off the Austin FC roster, unfortunately left off the Canadian roster, he finally gets time to breathe. Because when he left Vancouver, there was a Canadian national team camp that played Guatemala and Houston, and he had to come to Austin, get his living situation in check, and then fly with his national team, play 80 minutes, come back to Austin, and start preseason. There hasn't been a break for Jaden Nelson there. And some people have been coming after the medical staff of Austin FC about Jaden Nelson's issue. I don't think it's an Austin FC medical staff issue. I don't think the Austin medical staff is perfect. They've had some blunders in the past, sure. But the Jaden Nelson topic, I don't think it's all on them because this is something that he's been carrying for quite some time, brother. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. But any thoughts on Jaden, mate?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic for sure. You wish the best for this player and for him to be healthy. You want the most out of this player, but sometimes it's just a tough spot. It's a tough time for the player himself. I'm sure he wants to get out there. I'm sure he wants to play as many minutes as he can, especially with the national team. World Cup's coming up. Everyone's focused on the World Cup. So anytime there's an opportunity to come out and show out for your national team, these guys are going to take it and they're going to want to, show out. But you've been dealing with an injury this whole time. He kind of brushed it off in the very first game. So that kind of made us feel a little better. But then after that, it's just been, constant. I think it's been every game, I think, at this point. So he needs to rest up, man. This international break, I think, is going to do him good.
I agree.
You get some time to reflect, some time to recover, and you can always come out stronger from this. And I think this is the best thing for Jaden Nelson, for Austin FC. I think also.
I agree.
And so overall, I think it comes with a little bit of maybe a little bit of worry. Maybe, I'm not getting my minutes in for the national team. Like,
yeah,
am I gonna make this roster? The coaches have mentioned me in this list. What's going on? So I think there is a little bit of that going on. I think same thing could be happening with Uzuni. But he overall, if he comes back healthy, he comes back stronger. He's gonna be a great asset for us no matter what.
100%. No doubt about
it. That first game he had against Minnesota, he looked pretty sharp up until he couldn't really go on anymore. So, get your rest, Jaden. Rest up. It's a long season for sure. But I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, he's definitely got, and this is a conversation that we had on the Discord chat with Sama. Shout out to my G Sama. Logan from Verde Nation also was chiming in on it, and then RG Loss. Still don't know who he is. Could be a she at this point. I mean, I think people try to throw me off saying that it was a girl. I gave up on trying to figure out who Arglass is. I really like talking with him. Or maybe it's AI. Maybe it's AI, brother. AI is getting crazy these days, right? But yeah, it could be someone's burner. But the whole conversation was was when we actually predicted it correctly in the morning before the availability reports came out, or the day before the availability report came out. We were saying, oh shoot, guys, what if Jaden Nelson is on the report as either injured or questionable? And we got it spot on. So shout out to the folks on Discord that cracked that before that. Well, pause that was able to figure that out before that it dropped. So the conversation was like, well, is Jaden Nelson going to make the World Cup roster, right? But what Jesse Marsh said, I think once Jaden Nelson heard it, is probably like a breath of fresh air. They clearly had a conversation, and Coach Nico told Phil West post match after LAFC, or midweek also, I believe, that they believe it's like a pinched nerve in his back that's causing this. So they need to send Jaden Nelson to a sobandero. Clearly, they're not getting it done at the St. David's Performance Center. You know somebody, Primo. I know my parents know somebody. They need to take him to a sobandero. You know who I'm talking about. Some random lady's house in the 5'8" or the 5'3". You go inside. There's kids watching cartoons, and they say, "Hey, go to the room. I'll be there in a little bit."
Go to the
Sometimes
back.
they do it. Sometimes they do it in the living room, brother. Sometimes they do it in the freaking living room. They just get that tigre lotion. They put it on the gloves, and they just go to work. So if it's not working at the St. David's Performance Center, take him to a sobandero, brother. You know somebody. I know somebody. If not, we can find someone for him 100%. So hopefully he comes back. I mean, once these players start coming back for Austin FC, the team is going to look completely different, brother. I mean, I know Brendan Vasquez, everybody wanted him to be back from Miami. I don't think that's going to happen. But there's conversations about Owen Wolf being back after the international break. There's conversations about Robert Taylor being back here soon. So little by little, they're going to start coming back. And I think that's really good news for the coaching staff, for the teammates that they have, and for fans as well, right? So we'll see. Well, Austin is currently in 10th, but the season doesn't end today. There was somebody trying to make a point saying, look where Austin FC is on the table, mate. It's match day 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, Philadelphia hasn't won a game. They won the Shield last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, match day 5, it's match day 5. This league is going until December. So we'll see when the players come back, how things start to change. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Some other news real quick to get into. Today, the news dropped. Facundo Torres has been called up to the Uruguay national team for the friendlies against England and Algeria. Those are going to be in Wembley. I know the England one is going to be in Wembley. I forget where the Algeria one is going to be at. So a little bit of a long trip for Facu Torres, but it'll be good to be with his countrymen, to get some time under Bielsa. And we'll see what Bielsa tells him, because we know that Bielsa's not too much of a fan of MLS. But we'll see. You know where the Algeria match is going to be at by any chance?
It is. That's what I'm trying to look. I think Algeria is listed as the home team, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're already going over on that side for England. So
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere in Algeria. Trying to find it.
No, I don't think it's going to be in Algeria.
Yeah.
But let me see real quick. No, I don't think so. So that game is going to be. A quick Google search doesn't say. Oh, no, you know where it's going to be at? It's going to be on the Uruguay national team page on Instagram. That's where I saw it real quick. I'll pull it up. So England in Wembley.
Stadium.
Allianz. Woo! In Turin.
Oh,
Allianz
the Juve.
That's Italy.
Juve.
That's Italy. Yeah, that's Juve.
Yeah, that's the Juve
Okay,
stadium.
that's cool.
Okay.
Faco's going to come back with some drip. You know that he dresses well. He's going to come back with some drip. So, okay, best of luck to him. We'll see what kind of minutes he gets. They're friendlies. Uruguay is a World Cup country already. So we'll see what happens there. We talked about Mirto Suni's call-up to Albania. It's a World Cup qualifier, a semifinal against Poland. They have to win that game. Is that a home match? Is it in Albania? I think it is, because his brother, Asi, he posted a photo at the Albania Air Stadium. So
I think it's going to be in Poland, I think.
Oh, in Poland.
It's just...
Really? That's gonna be tough. Well, hold on. I think we could find this one out with a quick Google search. And I know we should probably know this, but with so many things going on. It's hard to.
I got the National Stadium of Warsaw. Let me know if you see something
Warsaw,
different, but I
that's
think
Poland.
it's gonna.
Warsaw, that's
Yeah,
Poland.
it's gonna be in Poland, man. It's
Oh yeah, you're right. National Stadium, Warsaw, and Warsaw. That's Poland. Shout out to my G Hudson. Okay, so best of luck to Mir Tusuni. Poland might have the home advantage on this one, but I think Albania can kind of get something out of this game. The next call up we got here, Primo Irvin Torres. Now, I got confirmation from the player himself. He is going to this call up. I know in the past he's had some call ups that he didn't go to, but this one he will be going to. It's going to be in Spain. They're going to play Wales, and it's preparation for the World Cups coming up for the U20 World Cup coming up, if I'm not mistaken. So, best of luck to Irvin Torres. It'll be great experience for him. I don't like the fact that I like and I don't like the fact that he's been included with the first team, but he doesn't get minutes. When he doesn't get minutes with the first team, he's missing out on minutes with the second team, right? So it's a little bit of a slippery slope, but the fact that he's going to this call up, he's going to get some really good, intense training sessions underneath his belt again. He's going to get possibly some minutes with the national team at the U20 level, U19 level. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I'm happy for the lad, and yeah, go ahead.
So for him, so say he gets caught up on, because I'm not super familiar with, you're more out there with Austin FC too. So if he gets called up on Saturday for a game in the first team, he doesn't play any minutes. He's not available for the games on Sundays when it's
no, he can.
He can. Okay.
He can. Yeah, there's 5 players that can do that. Damian Loss, CJ Fodry, Riley Thomas, Irvin Torres, and who is the 5th one?
Jorge.
Damian Loss, CJ Fodry, Riley Thomas, Irvin Torres, and who is the 5th one, bro? Who is the 5th one? Who is the 5th one? Who is? It's escaping me, but I know that there's 5 players. We made a post about it. But pretty much the contract that they're on, they can bounce from both teams freely. There's no issue. But Jorge Alastue, for him it's a little bit different because he's on the short-term loan agreements, and the fact that he didn't feature in this game against LAFC, he doesn't burn his last appearance that they let him have, or that they let him use or whatnot, for the first team. So he could feature against Miami, and then that's it. He can feature against LA Galaxy, and that's it. So he has 2 call-ups left, but 1 appearance left, if that makes sense. So he can be on the bench 2 more times, but he can only play 1 more time because he already played against RSL.
Right.
It's super weird. It's super weird, but it's killing me, bro. Who is that other player that is in those 5? Damian Law, CJ Fodry, Riley Thomas, Irvin Torres. Okay, I got it. Micah Burton. Micah Burton, dude. My bad, Micah. My bad, brother. My bad, Micah.
OG so those too, 5 man. Players. OG Micah.
Man. When is this slipping? I'm slipping right now. I'm slipping. But yeah, they can do that. That's pretty cool. Another guy that got called up, mate, Joseph Rosales. He's been called up to the Honduran national team for their upcoming friendly versus Peru. That's going to be in Spain. He confirmed pretty much to us post-match that he will be going. I asked him what he thought about that. He said that, he does have a long trip, but he's ready to kind of shine under the new coach or show the new coach what he has, because Honduras does have a new coach. And I want to ask you, Primo, what does your stepdad think of Rosales? Because he's clearly been one of the quickest fan favorites in Austin FC history. I think everybody really likes this signing. But, like, for example, the homies in El Callejon of Honduran descent, they love Joseph Rosales, bro. So what do you hear your stepdad say of him?
He's in that same boat as those guys. That he has so much love for him. And I think it just has to do, I think, with where they come from. Honduras kind of being on the smaller side, country-wise, and you don't see them, show up as much as USA, Mexico, and the Gold Cups and things. So whenever a player gets the opportunity to show out, to make a name for themselves in really any team, I think they're all for it, man. They get behind them like crazy, and I think it just has to do, I think, with like a pride thing. They're so prideful. They're so patriotic, and so he supports him, man. He loves Josue Rosales. He can't wait until he scores a banger of a goal, which I feel it coming. But he's in that same boat as those guys. He just gets so much love from his Honduran people, and I think it's well deserved too. I don't think he's really had a bad game up until now. He's doing his thing. He's filling in the role. And then I think he has a big role in the national team as well. I think he's one of those top players that people look out for. So I think he's really well liked for sure.
Yeah. All right. That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. So best of luck to Josue Rosales and La H. A lot of Honduran fans going out to Q2 Stadium just to see this guy. So I mean that's just positive for sure. We have some other call-ups here. Nico Aristizabal, he's been called up to the men's national team for Puerto Rico. It's no longer the U19s, the U18s. This is the big boys. And I know Puerto Rico is not a massive soccer country. They're more of a baseball country, yada, yada, yada. But the fact that this player is being recognized for those top levels, and you know who he plays with at this level? You remember Jeremy, the one that played for Real Madrid?
Oh yeah,
with the orange hair. Yep. Teammates at this level. So that's super cool. That's super cool that he gets to play with somebody of that quality.
Is this the first time he gets caught up to?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time senior team because he's always been with like the U20, the U19, this and that. So this is senior team stuff, and they're going to be playing the FIFA Series 2026. It's like a bunch of friendlies, and they started with Guam, and then their second game is to be dated. I couldn't find a lot of information on it. I had to get some stuff from other folks, but best of luck to him. I wish him the best. We also had Svatok. We talked about it a little bit. He's going to be playing a semifinal World Cup qualifier against Sweden. Of course, they have to win that game to make it to the final. Usuni has to win their game against Poland to make it to the final. And could we see a Pau Gasol and Kobe Bryant kind of moment where Kobe ran through Pau Gasol's chest in that Olympic game, and really set the tone for the match? I remember there's like an ESPN 30 for 30 where Kobe Bryant's teammates are like, "Man, you're not gonna do that. That's your brother, man. You're not gonna do that." And Kobe Bryant's like, "All right, watch this." Pau Gasol sets the screen. Oh, Kobe Bryant runs right through Pau Gasol, bro. So we'll see if both of those players make it to the final. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. But last topic of the night, Primo, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Austin FC 2 match that happened Sunday night. They play Sundays. They defeated Tacoma Defiance on the road. A goal at the 88th minute from Kenan Hott. This is a player that debuted for Inter Miami, and then out of nowhere, Austin FC picked him up. And what a pickup he's been. In the midfield, he's been really good. He's been bossing it. I want to say this, though. A lot of credit goes to Mo Barawiya, because the assist that he's able to pull off is not regular. It's not like, oh, he played in a good ball. No, he has to do the dribbling and then the pass to find Hott, and Hott puts the ball into the back of the net. But Mo Barawiya, hats off to this young academy prospect, academy player. And then last night, Sunday night, when Austin FC 2 played against Tacoma, they had 3 academy players featured in this game: Mo Barawiya, Aiden Hale, and Landry Moncrief. So big ups to them. The academy is finally doing things right with the second team. I mean, how many times have you heard me complain about the pipeline, not getting prospects, letting guys go? And another thing, I'm sorry, it wasn't Landry Moncrief that came in. It was Eric Feliciano. Feliciano, a U16 player. A U6, you saw us talking about him. You saw us how hyped we were. Orlando had no plans for him. The Austin FC scout, Josh Reyes, found him and said, "Come on to Austin. Vente para acá. Come on, let's go." And he's been a star boy for Austin FC so far. He cannot stop scoring at the U16 level. And I really love that they're taking care of him, giving him these opportunities at the second team level. because that's how you keep these players in your system. So I'm happy for Eric. I'm happy for the academy products that got to see some PT in this game. But a lot of credit has to go to Mo Badawiya for the assist that he's able to pull off to really win this game. I mean, Hot put the ball to the back of the net. I think that's 30% of it. 60% of the work was done by Mo Badawiya. And another thing I want to mention, massive, massive credit to Jason Shackle. Back-to-back wins as new head coach. First game against Minnesota, they really look nervous. They look real shaky, and Minnesota made him pay. Every little mistake that they were making, Minnesota capitalized on it and scored a goal. It was 4-2, but they never gave up. They never gave up. They kept knocking the door and knocking on the door. And the Minnesota keeper had a phenomenal game. I think they could have scored more than 2, but the rival also plays in the game as well. The second game against they were playing Ventura County. They were up 2-0. They let Ventura back into the match, tied it 2-2. Dylan Vanny led the comeback. Greg Vanny's son, the LA Galaxy's head coach. So imagine the amount of training sessions that this kid has had with top players that LA Galaxy has had. You know, you just got to be real with it. He's destined for the pros one day. The third game, they get their first win. Big ups to them. They beat North Texas at home. A nasty game. It was very cold. It was very windy. And they got it. No Jorge Alastoy, no Urban Torres. Jacaria Barro, we call him Jaca. He got the goal. Long-range effort. Phenomenal for them. And now they go away for the first time. They play Tacoma Defiance, beat them 1-0 with an 88th minute winner. I mean, back-to-back wins. I love it for these boys. They're really starting to get into the rhythm. Adrian Gonzalez has done a really good job as being the captain when Jorge has not been there. Evan Watt, the new center back, he's done really good so far. It kind of, the first game he was very shaky, very shaky. The second game, different player. Third game, he built on it. The fourth game, he's just getting better and better and better. So I'm really liking what I'm starting to see from the second team, from the coaching staff to the players. And there's hunger in there, Primo. There's hunger. When I see the second team play in person, I was on and off in this away game because it was very late and I was doing some stuff around the house, but we were paying attention to it. I let the chat know, like, Eddie is in, and RDZ Flicks is like, oh, shoot, let me put him back on because I was editing photos. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this side. They're growing together. The chemistry is definitely growing, and yeah, that's all that I wanted to say. Anything you want to add on that, Primo? I know there's, like you said earlier, I'm more attached with the second team. I'm kind of the sicko there, but I do it so you guys don't have to worry too much about it, right?
I mean, I'm looking at the play that led up to that goal. Very nice touch.
I mean, you see him get in between two guys.
Gets it between those two guys, lays it out, just so soft for Hot to just maybe really pass it into that goal. It wasn't really too much of a hard shot.
Yeah.
But it was, wide open. And yeah, I agree with you there. I think 60% of that came from the assist.
100%.
You have to stay cool and calm to make that goal as well. So shout out to Hot for getting that goal. And it's building up some good momentum. You got back-to-back wins. You got some familiar teams that they're gonna play coming up here. Well, they got Houston Dynamo coming up, but then they also play Ventura County right after that, North Texas again, and then Tacoma Defiance again. So it's a
weird schedule.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird schedule. It looks like it's like a group thing, maybe.
You're right. You're right.
Where they play these teams kind of back to back in a few weeks span, but they're beating these teams, and they looks like they're up and running now. I'm excited to see what's coming from this team now. I know they were a little shaky at first, but they're still putting up goals. It looks like they've been putting up goals this whole time. You mentioned Hot. What's he's the gentleman that came over from Inter Miami?
From Miami, yeah. Ken and Hot. K Hot.
I mean, I like how it's looking for this team. I want to get more into it. I want to go out to a game. I always I always tell people to go and then I don't go. But people go to these games, man. I'll go out there. Because it seems like they're getting themselves together pretty good here. Shout out to the coach as well. I know he's been on the mic a few times, so it's looking good. I'll make it out there for sure.
I want for sure go to the one against Houston. That'll be a really good one,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
derby. But yeah, Jason Shackle, Jason Shackle, Coach Shacks, that's what I like to call
Coach
him.
Shaq.
Bro, proper British lad. He used to be a Premier League center back. He was in the championship and won promotion. So this guy's proper. This guy's been around town. And I told B this, and you know Brian, bro. Brian always shoots me down like a freaking F-35 right now. I mean, because getting political. But I told Brian in the stew like 3 weeks ago. I was like, hey, bro, be careful. Jason Shackle, one day when he gets the right experience underneath his belt, he could be aiming at a first-team job. Maybe in Austin, I don't know. But the way he has these boys playing, his style, the way he acts in his coaching area, I see him being a first-team manager one day, brother. I see him being a first-team manager. And right now he's a second-team MLS Next Pro coach, but it doesn't mean that in the future he cannot make the jump or something like that, similar to that. So just best of luck to him, to his teams. I'm happy that they got back-to-back wins. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I'm not going to say, oh, they're better than with Brett Utley. They're worse than with Brett Utley, because that's not the coach that Jason Shackle is. He even said, he was like, look, Brett left a good foundation, and I'm lucky that, I'm here now because, Brett left a really good, a really good mark on the organization. So best of luck to Brett Utley. He's with Cincinnati right now as an assistant. So that's kind of all to add there. But last thing, Primo, before we get out of here, bro, I want to send a shout out to Alpha South Texas and the UPSL teams that were part of the showcase that took place here in Austin at Palmer Field. We were there from 7 in the morning, bro, till 5 p.m. 5 p.m., dude.
Oh my God.
5 p.m., bro. We were taking a bunch of photos. We had some teams book us, some parents booked us. RDZ Flicks, Dante, and my boy Aaron. I even got the camera and I was shooting some shit. I was shooting some teams out there, bro. I was like, man, give me that. How freaking hard can this be, man? Give me that. How freaking hard is this? Boy, let me tell you, that is tough, man. I have so much respect for the photographers now. Like, you have no idea, especially how fast players move. And like, it takes a second for the camera to get focused, and by then the player could be already gone. So massive respect to RDZ Flicks, Dante Valencia, and Aaron, because what they do with the camera, it's tough, bro. It's really, really tough. So, and I mean, they got some really nice equipment. I'm not gonna lie. They got like some nice lenses.
I get nervous
Just
holding
insane.
those things, man. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I get nervous just holding it, man. I'm like, I don't even want to drop
Yeah.
this thing. So yeah,
But
definitely shout out to those guys.
in specific, shout out to John, the organizer. He really gave us. He really threw us a bone. He gave us an opportunity. He put me in some very important group chats with some very important people, and off of one connection, bro, 10 doors can open, and that's exactly what I experienced this weekend. So shout out to John. Shout out to John Reyes. I don't know if they listen to the pod, but I hope they do and they make it to the end of it, because they really put us on. They really put us on this weekend, and I'm the kind of person that doesn't forget these kind of things. So we're still editing these photos. The parents are already hitting me up, saying, "Hey, when can we get the photos? When can we get the photos?" Calma, be patient. They're gonna be good. So we'll just leave it at that, Primo. Anything else you want to add to the pod?
No, I mean, just we keep it moving. It's been a good season, I think, so far. I think I'm liking it so far. I know it's been a little shaky, but this LAFC game gave me a little bit of hope. Shout out to homie Eric that came through from LAFC. He actually gifted us a scarf. It's a Giroud scarf. He's like, you can have this one. He's like, he didn't score, so you can have this one.
That's what he was talking about, because he
yeah.
told me, he was like, there's a reason why we gave y'all this scarf, and I was like, okay. He said, oh, because he didn't score. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's
Cheeky
like,
lad.
yeah.
He's a cheeky lad. All
But
right.
shout out to him. He pass by the interviews, and shout out to everyone that's been coming by the interviews. We get some good takes out there. It's fun. So I encourage everyone, if you haven't done it, go ahead. If you just want to say something, voice your opinion. You know, we're always there. We're always posted up after every home game. So, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited. We got Inter Miami, the game that we've been talking about since the schedule dropped, is just right around
Yeah.
the corner. So I know we're making arrangements to make it out there, and we're gonna try to make the most of it. But I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for the content we're gonna get. We're gonna have boots on the ground outside the stadium, getting fan content. We're gonna have boots on the ground inside whatever stadium. You know, we could play at freaking Woodridge, brother. We could play at Cook. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't matter to me, brother. Let's just get this game over with. I'm low key excited to see Lil Messi. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. And boy, I will not shut up if Austin comes back with the 3 points, because I will forever, ever say Austin beat Messi. Don't tell me yet. Don't come at me. Austin beat Messi. So hey, we'll just leave it at that. If hopefully Austin brings back those 3 points, and we'll have something to talk about for the rest of our lives. So, all right, Primo, appreciate you being here. Thank you everybody for listening. And we always said we're gonna keep these episodes short, an hour, 20 minutes of program, but a lot of good stuff that was said. So, all righty, mate. Let's get out of here, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.